Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Welcome to the 5G podcast. My name is Steven. He, him.
Oh my goodness. It would have been fine if we could have kept a straight face. You're supposed to say that with a straight face now.
My name is... I can't do it, Trevor.
No, you can't. The day when I do that with a straight face, like...
It's the day I kill myself?
Hell freezes over or whatever.
Pigs fly.
Yeah.
You remember the Microsoft thing where they were like, my name is Steven. He, him. I'm a white male from the northern parts of Idaho, and I am a really big fan. It's like they just like went into like their biography for like 2 seconds and like describing who they were. Like, I'm a fit white male who enjoys karaoke on Tuesdays.
Was this like, and they worked at Microsoft?
No, these were like Microsoft employees presenting about a new thing. It was like during the pandemic.
Gotcha.
When everyone was going like super woke.
Yeah.
It was very, very funny. I almost tried doing that, but I couldn't get the first 2 words out without a straight face.
He/him.
My name is Steven. He, him. Anyway,
if it wasn't obvious.
We're going to get canceled now.
Yeah, that's on par. Episode 52 finally canceled us.
Oh, yeah, this is our season 1 finale.
Yeah, right? You can't demonetize us. We're not making any money anyway.
True. We're doing this for free.
Yeah. Cancel us for free. It's not even worth your time. It's negative money. You make negative money by canceling us. Anyway, we've got some controversy to talk about. Not the.
We should rebrand this to just the Controversies podcast.
Apparently, it's because we're just normal guys, and this is what we read and talk about, and that's life.
You want to introduce this one? Or you want me to introduce this one?
So I can introduce by saying I almost bought Helldivers 2 this week. I was like kind of feeling like, hey, maybe I need a new game to play, and I was I've already been pretty convinced. Helldivers 2, I was like, yeah, this game like looks pretty good, looks pretty fun.
You know, over the past 3, 4, 5, 6 months, have been amazing,
phenomenal. Yeah,
gameplay footage looks amazing.
Yeah, updates have been good. The one complaint at the beginning was like the server space because they weren't expecting that many people. Yeah, but they upgraded that quickly. Yeah.
And that's a very reasonable. If that's your only problem with your game, you're doing something good.
Oh, absolutely.
In my opinion.
And so this week in particular, it was like Monday night or whatever. I was like, I think I might buy Helldivers. I'm kind of into that. I ended up holding off. I was like, maybe not. I feel like maybe by the time I get it and get into it, all my friends that are playing it are already going to be done, because that's usually what happens sometimes.
Well, you could have convinced me to get it too.
Right, yeah. And then I could have convinced some new friends, but there was a different game that was on sale and I bought that one. So I was like, all right. I'll come back to Helldivers 2. That's fine. And then the news rolled out Thursday, and I'm like, ooh, okay, good thing I didn't buy it this week.
What is the news, Trevor?
The big news is that
breaking news. Dun 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 dun.
Papa Sony decided to meddle with things, because the developers, Arrowhead Games, I think, they're a small indie company. Sony's their publisher. They got to deal with Sony for stuff, and you, regardless of whether you have the game on console or PC, you have to make a PlayStation Network, a PSN account. And you have to link it to your Steam if you're on PC. Presumably for the cross-platform play or whatever. Or they trotted out a lot of different reasons. Like, the cross-platform play, matchmaking, whatever. You need everyone on PlayStation Network. It's got an anti-cheat on our PlayStation Network account. We want to make sure you're not bots or frauds or whatever. So you got to have the extra layer of security with your PSN Sony account. Which that one's kind of bogus because the game already installs another anti-cheat, which that's like a whole other topic of like games these days, just forcibly installing anti-cheats on your computer, and they're really invasive. Anyway, so the big thing was like, yeah, requiring you to make a Sony, a PlayStation Network account, even if you're on PC, which is kind of weird, not unheard of, but it's annoying because the big thing is that they promised at the beginning, they said, no, yeah, you don't need that. And I think the cross-platform was working fine. The anti-cheat they already had was working fine. So I think the biggest part of the controversy is that there's a lot of countries all over the world where you just can't make a PlayStation Network account. It's just banned. Like it's usually Eastern Europe and Russia is the big one for some reason. But there's a couple other random ones like the Philippines or whatever.
It's like why the Philippines?
Yeah, you just can't make a Sony account, and so starting in a month, I think, like the end of May, you won't be able to play Helldivers 2.
That's interesting. So it's interesting. I wonder what happens. Like I paid for a game, and then all of a sudden I'm not able to access that game. I should get a refund.
The Steam reviews are tanking.
Yeah, I sent you that those pictures yesterday.
Compilation,
literally like a straight drop. Like
yeah, and
I wonder what their concurrent players did.
I heard they lost 100,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah, when they were at 300 to 400.
Yeah, 25%.
Yeah,
30%.
Again, just the Steam numbers, which there might be some some PlayStation 5 players like rebelling as well, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't technically affect them.
No. They're already playing on that network.
Yeah, that's already mandatory for playing online on PlayStation.
Yeah.
They lost a decent amount of players. I don't know if Steam is giving away refunds. I haven't heard that yet. I've heard a lot of people are trying to.
Yeah, I saw Thor.
Oh yeah,
Pirate Software Gaming, something like that.
Yeah,
whatever he is.
He's a big streamer.
Yeah, recently big.
Yeah,
more or less,
he's getting bigger.
Past year, but he is like full on
anti-Helldivers now.
Yeah, like he's requested a refund for the game. He left a negative review. He took out all of the Helldivers 2 stuff from his Discord.
No.
And all of the Helldivers stuff from his Twitch, like emotes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh my goodness.
Everything. He went scorched earth on it.
Scorched earth, yeah. Started making bot accounts to post more negative reviews. Get them. I'd buy more games and then refund them immediately.
Yeah.
It's sad to see, like, I don't know. I can almost see both sides of it, of like, oh, we need this. No, I think I'm basically just talking myself out of that, actually. I think this was completely unnecessary. It's like I'm trying to devil's advocate defend a little bit, but it just seems like Sony just getting their greedy hands, because I'm sure I don't know, it looks better on their metrics to see, oh, look at how many PlayStation Network users we have. It like looks better to their shareholders or something.
Yeah, I'm sure this was just, it's kind of sad because like I'm sure the Helldivers team doesn't want to alienate their player base like this.
No, it does not seem like it came from the developers.
Yeah, I mean, the developers have done literally everything correct.
Everything good, yeah.
Literally everything. And like, you and I have both touted this game as like what a company should do for a game.
Yeah.
Right?
We haven't even played it.
And they had a big controversy, but it wasn't really a controversy because there were people trying to push politics of both sides into the game, and those players got banned from chat.
Yeah, the company, the developers were like, cut that out. Like,
no right-wing politics, no left-wing politics. There is you against bugs and robots, and that is it.
Yeah. A lot of their updates and a lot of their community posts is all done as like in-universe stuff. Like it's canonical, like for democracy, but it's not our real-world politics.
Yeah. And they said no to real-world politics because there were some people saying like, you should make a trans flag cape, or you should make a whatever cape or whatever.
A MAGA cape. Yeah, no,
whatever.
None of that.
And it's like, how about no? And they
No.
banned those people from chat.
Yeah. They're like, this is our fantasy world, and it's fun, and everybody's having a good time, and that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
it's an entertainment.
And they were doing everything else right, and now Sony, from their high and mighty throne of destruction,
clearly seemed to force this, which feels bad because I don't know if you saw the community manager came out and respond. He kind of was like, what's the word? Not treading water, holding water for Sony or something. He was supporting Sony,
holding water for Sony.
Yeah. He came out and I don't know. His comment got kind of destroyed, but he was just like, "This isn't the first game that requires a third-party account. Oh, it only takes a couple minutes. But if that's a deal breaker for you, then sure, change your Steam review to negative or whatever. So that only takes you 120 seconds to link your email. And it's like, okay, but if like this is Asmongold's take on it of like, okay, if your argument is triviality, it only takes 120 seconds on something that's you made us do that's trivial. Like, what's the point? Like, you could also just as easily not done this if it's so trivial.
Yeah,
it's only 120 seconds. What's the end game? What's the reason then?
Yeah,
it just wasn't necessary.
Well, and it never is 120 seconds. The average might be 120 seconds. But there's always cases where
it's so annoying. Oh, I gotta log into my PlayStation account. Oh, I forgot my password. Oh,
exactly.
I gotta wait for the email to come in to verify my account.
Yeah. And Steam for some reason made me log out and log back in. And I forgot my Steam password. I've never logged into Steam after the first time
ever. Forgot my Steam password. Yeah, any number of things of like, they want a credit card. I gotta put in my credit card information. Like,
yeah, if they asked for a credit card on that, I would have. Not that I had it anyway, but like, that would have been an extra deal breaker for me. Like, even if I had been someone who was like, okay, well, I guess I'll do this stupid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan. Like, and he's right. It's not the first game on Steam that does that. A lot of the EA games make you have an EA account now.
Well, that makes sense though, because it's an EA game.
Yes. Like the new Star Wars games are EA's
produced that though, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a third party.
Correct.
Steam is the third party.
Yeah.
Right? And so
they're using the Steam platform, And EA had their own platform for a while, but then they were like, Steam's bigger, so they just went on Steam and just make people do an EA account. But it's again, 120 seconds, but it's pretty non-invasive.
And I'm okay with that because it's an EA game, right? Like if this was a PlayStation produced game.
Yeah, a Sony game.
A Sony game, a Sony game, and they're making you do that, it's like, yes, because it's a Sony game.
Yeah.
And so for them to say, if you want to play our game,
you got to make our account.
Yeah. Completely reasonable.
Yeah, okay, that's a good take.
But this is a third-party company that used Sony as a publisher. It's not a Sony game. They use Sony as a publisher.
Yeah.
Which is like using Amazon as a publisher.
Yeah, that's like what small companies have to do.
And they're going and saying, now that Sony is coming out and saying, like, if you still want the game to be a game, I think what they should have done, and this might be this might be unfeasible or whatever, or unreasonable, but I think the CEO guys, because this had to have been a conversation going back and forth for a month or two now, right? I think the CEO should have said, like, fine, we're going to stop the game.
Yeah.
We're going to stop the game, and then in 2 months, they're going to come out with a different publisher.
Yeah. Helldivers 2.1.
You can still call it the same thing.
Yeah, I was curious the legality of that, but
I mean, I don't know what their contract is.
Yeah, exactly.
But
with Sony,
and I wonder if they have. I hope they don't, but I wonder if they have like an exclusivity contract with Sony in terms of like their next game production as well.
Oh, sure.
But I don't.
The CEO, to his point, came out and he was like, he was a little bit nicer than the community manager. Who was like, no, this is trivial. The CEO was he's I guess it's warranted. Sorry for how this happened. I hope we can make it up and regain your trust. And he's like, I just want to make great games.
Yeah, reasonable. I mean,
it's a good line to hear from the CEO.
Diplomatic for sure.
Yeah.
At least.
Whereas the community manager was not.
And he should be the one who is diplomatic.
Yeah, he was like, just screw you guys. Leave your negative reviews. I don't care.
Yeah. Probably should have ran that one up the chain before posting it.
He's the manager. Yeah.
Community
manager.
The CEO's ahead of him.
Yeah, exactly. The good take online I saw, which again would like maybe be a potential positive, but nobody would ever do this, is somebody said, oh, okay, so since I have to link my PlayStation Network account to my PC of like, so that there's no duplicates, there's no bots, right? I have the same name for the cross-platform play. That means one copy of the game I should be able to play on my PlayStation 5 and my PC, right? No, that's not how that works. But it's the same account for the cross-platform. I should be able to, like, because if I buy it again on PlayStation, I'm the same character, I'm the same person, the same profile. But no, yeah, you have to buy two copies of the game if you want to do that. Like, that could at least be one reasoning, right, for linking the accounts.
You get a free game
if you have the PlayStation 5 or if you have a PC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so why did I have to link accounts then?
I think your previous statement is 100% correct of it being a PlayStation or a Sony thing to show their shareholders.
Yeah.
Look how many new people we had sign up. And it's going to be 200,000 people that sign up from Helldivers alone.
Yeah,
probably.
from the 400,000 loyal Helldivers players. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with. I'm curious to see what happens with their concurrent player numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it had been different if it had started out like this.
Right. Yeah, I think it was optional at the beginning. Like, the option always existed for whatever reason. Like, small little button in the corner of the menu if you wanted to link your accounts. But yeah, starting the end of May, it's going to be mandatory.
I'll be very interested to see what happens. I wish we could have a live graph of both concurrent players of Helldivers and Sony PSN subscriptions.
Oh, right,
or accounts being created.
Yeah, certainly, as you said, the new accounts, if you could track that per month.
Yeah. Because I'll bet you that the vast majority of people who are going to continue to play Helldivers are going to wait until the game says, you must make an account before logging in. It's going to be June 1. When everyone's like,
fine.
Guess I got to make the account now.
Okay.
I mean, no one's going to make it right now.
No, yeah. It's a hassle.
I wonder, do you think it would have been better if they had not announced it?
Oh, they just snuck it in on May 30th or whatever?
On, June 1, May 30th, whatever, that day. If they
it's like, oh, hey, you got to make this thing now.
Said, like, please make an account to continue,
Yeah, if they had said nothing, and then on May 30, just like the people start spreading the news online, like, hey, I had to log into PlayStation. Did you get that? Oh, yeah, I had the same thing. Oh. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think they would have been better.
Yeah, I don't know, because they still would have had to say something then.
Yeah.
Like patch notes.
There's a million ways they could have done it better as well.
Yeah, totally.
There's a million ways. Like, they could have made it so that you get some sort of free cosmetic or something like that.
That's true.
Which everyone who got a cosmetic, it would be worthless, but like at least something.
There's a decent amount of games that, like, if you link your Amazon account, which is also your Twitch account, you get some cosmetics. Like, stuff like that isn't unheard of. But like,
I did that on Smite. We got a bunch of cosmetics.
Yeah, but make it extra. Don't make it required.
Yeah, like if they had come out with a really sick cape or whatever the cosmetics are, armor set or something like that.
Helmets, I don't know.
Yeah, like that would have been a good way to do it.
It's just the Sony logo on your flag.
That's all what the Twitch skins are in Smite.
Yeah.
It just has like
Amazon.
No, it just has like the Twitch, like a chat box looking thing.
Oh, okay.
Symbol.
It's kind of interesting.
Kind of dumb.
Oh, your support for Twitch.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, that's the Helldivers 2 controversy in a nutshell.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Sorry, Russian players. No democracy for you.
I mean,
not
that they had it anyway.
They had a democratic election, Stephen.
Yeah, just like Just like all the other banana republics.
Just
like every democracy is free and open elections.
Mhm,
Every
mhm.
single one. No democracy has ever had any interference with any other democracy.
That's right. Democracy is just a perfect.
The CIA doesn't exist.
It's a perfect form of government, Stephen.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest video game news from the week, right?
Did I send you any other interesting articles this week? I don't think I did.
I don't think so. It's a random headline I saw of
Did you watch The Gentleman last night?
I did watch The Gentleman last night.
All right, well, let's get your movie. We got to get your movie.
All right, the movie. This is controversy in movies and magic.
CMM.
The CMM. It doesn't flow as well as 5Gs, but
No.
Yeah, The Gentleman. It was pretty good. I enjoyed the premise. Kind of that slow burn, and then like in the last 30 minutes, I had kept checking the timestamp because it felt like there were 4 or 5 different climaxes in the movie. I'm like, what is going on? Like, it's just slow burn, and then it just ramps up. It was pretty wild. It was pretty cool.
You enjoyed the movie?
And yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Very, very enjoyable.
I'm glad I didn't lead you astray on that one.
No. I mean, I'd already seen the TV show first, which was like very similar idea, similar concept. Change character names and how each character started or whatever, and because you can spread it out, whereas a movie is a single like 2-hour experience. But it was good. I liked had a pretty good cast, right? Pretty big name actors. Matthew McConaughey,
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
What's that?
Colin Farrell.
Yep.
Is the coach guy.
He's one of my favorite characters in that movie.
Yeah, I think he stole the show. That character was so good. You thought like it wasn't gonna be anything, that he was just like in a scene or two.
My favorite scene is his name is Fahak. You say it like Fahak.
You say it like Fahak. Fuck. Yeah, that's the one. So good. Oh, they had some good lines. There's one I probably can't repeat on camera, but I can tell you after one of my favorite sequences.
Which one? What is?
When he's talking to his the black fighter at his gym.
Oh yeah,
so good,
so funny.
Rated R for some language.
Lots of language.
Yeah, good. And they're British, so it's like they're whipping out slurs, and there were probably some offensive terms in there that I didn't even know were offensive.
Yeah, probably
didn't even understand.
Yeah.
It's a very British movie.
Charlie Hunnam, one of the most underrated actors ever.
I agree. Yeah, he did very well.
Yeah, he is just a great actor.
Yeah, I had to look up like what else is he in.
Sons of Anarchy, the TV show.
Oh, the TV show. Okay.
He's an American motorcycle guy in that TV, and that's a great TV show. I watched that one.
I liked the wife. I really liked her. I was like, what else is she in? Downton Abbey. That's like the only other thing she's been in. I'm like, I'd never seen her anywhere, but I was like, she's gorgeous. She's a good actor.
Yeah,
like,
she's fantastic.
It's like, I'd love to see her in more movies.
Yeah. She made a really good gangster's wife, like also gangster type thing. She was
like the kind of the upper classy woman, but then was like still pretty gangster. Like she shoots a couple guys.
Yeah.
Pretty ballsy of her. She's got a 2-shot pistol, and there's 3 guys coming to get her, and she's like,
2 of them are dead.
She holds her own for a while, like just with the intimidation checks.
Yeah, she did do quite a few intimidation checks.
Yeah, she's like,
and then she proved it, and then they were like, yeah.
Yeah, so it was good. Like I said, the ramped up the multiple climaxes was crazy, because I thought that like, oh, this is it, surely, like the movie's gonna end, and he's like running back to like save his wife from that scene, that conflict. Like, okay, yeah, this is the climax. Oh no, okay. And then like, I don't know, they catch the one bad guy. You're like, oh, okay, that's good. Like, this is the climax. And they're like, but wait, there's actually a different bad guy. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I probably should have seen that coming, but I just thought this was the climax. So I like forgot about the possibility that this guy could have also been the real bad guy, or just another bad guy, because they're all bad guys. Who's the true big bad evil guy? Mm-hmm. It was enjoyable all the way through. I liked the premise of like, for a good portion of the movie, they're like flashbacking because the one guy is blackmailing.
Yeah.
So they're just like, all right, let me tell you a story. He's just like trying to blackmail him hypothetically, and you flash back to the whole movie. If all of this happened, and I was there to take pictures and record everything. Yeah. So you can see the flashback of the whole movie, except for the last like 20 minutes is like live time after that. It was fun. Like I said, the one point about Colin Farrell's character I thought was goofy, that he just like, you thought he just had this like random gang of like boxers, like fighters, and then they're just like, they sometimes did thug stuff. They were actually pretty bad, eh? Like,
yeah, they were dope.
they were like the good guys by the end. I was rooting for them. I was like,
for sure.
it's like, I thought this was just a bunch of like gangsters, but
No, they're like awesome.
they're
Yeah,
cool, like organized crime boxers.
His introduction scene where he's in like the sandwich shop, is so funny.
That was great. That was like,
one of my favorite lines is, how does he say it? He's like, I think you muddled up your mouthwash with cat piss or something like that.
Yes. Yeah, he had some good ones just messing up.
Stab me with it. F you. No. He just looks so disappointed.
Because he wanted like something witty. He's like, come on, yeah. Like, because he was just, he was firing off line after line. He's like, all right, show me what you got. F you. No.
Try again. Cut me with it.
So good. It's like no class.
And then he sprays the vinegar in the kid's eye.
Yeah, that was wild. Like, that's, wow, okay. Makes you
like
pepper
old
spray.
man moves for sure.
Like vinegar spray that guy. He's like, I mean, the sound effects are almost cheesy to the point. He's just like backhanding and slapping them. And the sound effects just, they slap. Like, he's not even like trying to hurt these guys. He's clearly just like
just humiliating them.
Yeah, you're just reacting like, they come at him and you just slap your face out of the way. Like, it was funny. Fun movie.
Yeah, I think it's one of my maybe not like top 10 movies ever, but like definitely in the top 50, I think.
Yeah, that was certainly enjoyable. I can rewatch that again in a year or whatever, and be like,
I kind of want to watch it now.
Be like, yeah, that was a good movie again.
Yeah, Ryan and I saw it in theaters, and that was it was a good experience in theaters as well.
Oh, nice. And then you saw it came out on Netflix?
Yeah. So might have to watch that. We'll do it tomorrow at lunch or something.
Good one.
Anyway.
Worth the watch.
Yeah, great movie. Great movie. But anyway,
The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie.
Yeah. The TV show, I think I like them. Do you like the movie or the TV show more?
Oh man,
I'll be interested to hear this.
I guess just of the two right now, because there's only season 1 of the TV show. I think I did enjoy the movie more. I mean, they're both good, obviously.
Yeah, for me, they're both 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, both fantastic.
Well, I guess one of them has to be a 9.4 if one of them is a 9.
Sure, and one has to be better.
You could, I mean...
No fence sitting.
Fair enough. I'm okay with that.
I think as it stands right now, I didn't like the movie more, but I'm excited to see more of the TV show, right?
Sure.
Because the movie's a one and done. That was a 2-hour evening, enjoyable. But I enjoyed season 1 of the show enough. I'm interested to see more.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe that has the potential to surpass what I thought of the movie.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat. I think that, actually, I really enjoyed the TV show, but I do think that the movie was, the movie is, because it's a movie, felt like a higher quality production maybe.
Sure.
So, I think that's, and the way that they tied all of those intricate story arcs that they fully developed in 2 hours into the finale of the movie is like, okay, this is great.
Yeah, it was well done. And I can see, obviously, going back, I'm like, okay, they did kind of do mini versions of that in the TV show, which was cool.
Yeah.
Because like by the season finale, it all wrapped up of like, each episode, I think we described it in our episode, was like, this is just one contained story. And then like by the season finale, it's like, okay, the gypsies from this story were involved here. And then, the Asian, the heroin deal was involved here in the final episode. And it's like all the connections he made previously. And then the Americans, it all tied together. And so this one, same thing is like, it all connected by the end. It's very, very well made. In my opinion.
I thought it was fantastic.
As a
TV show and the movie.
Random side note from that concept, right, of like wrapping things up, because I like to think that I watch things analytically, even when I watch it for enjoyment. We don't have to go fully into this, but the Peaky Blinders season 4.
Did you finish?
Yeah, I finished season 4. I'm a little bit into season 5. Season 4, I think, had to have been like the best season.
That's
right?
the one with Luca Changretta and the Black Hand.
Yeah. That has to be the best season, right? Like they're freaking fighting the mafia.
It's a good season.
It's at least, I don't know,
the last season is pretty good too.
Okay.
So from now on, it gets a little bit more political. I would say.
Yes, I've noticed that some. But the point I wanted to make is like, the no spoilers or anything, but just like
the show's been out for years.
I know. Well, on a high level analysis, right? The season finale, it was like, man, I'm enjoying everything. They're sort of wrapping everything up and tying it together. Like the one, as the final episode is rolling of the season, I'm like, no, the one thing that's not sticking with me is they said that this Italian guy came with, they said there were 12 Italians. They knew that from the beginning, his family members, and it was like, over the course of the season, they've killed a lot of Italians. Maybe about 12. And then in the final episode, he shows up with like half a dozen more guys. You're like, okay, where's he getting these more Italians? Like, you told me at the start of the season that like, oh, we only have to deal with 12 and then we're done. Like, we're safe. By the end, I'm like, that's not right. They need to explain that, or I'm going to be a little miffed. And then you come to find out behind the scenes, yes, they did kill all of his original family members, all of his original Italians. He had hired some other Italians on retainer from an Alphonse Capone in New York and Chicago, right? Sorry. And then Thomas Shelby, the main character, he bought them off because they were just mercenaries. They had no loyalty to the main bad guy because they'd already killed all of his family members, all of his loyalties.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, yep.
And then when his brother dies, that was a sick scene.
Dies and then doesn't.
Because for me, the first time I watched that season, I was like, his younger brother dies.
Yeah.
The third youngest brother dies, and then that season, and then at the boxing match,
you think the oldest brother
Arthur
dies. You're like, no way.
And so you're like, oh my gosh, they're just gonna. And at the time, no one knew there was going to be season 5. So everyone was like, is Tommy just going to die? Because that would be 100% a thing that they do to finish the series off, is just kill off the main character.
Just kill all the characters.
He's a gangster. He dies at the end.
It's an anti-hero. You're not supposed to root for him.
Right? Like, that would be a thing they did.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, is he going to die too? And then the last season, he's like, okay, no, he's going to win, but like, I'm so sad. Like, Arthur and John are both dead.
Yeah, where do we go from here?
And then Arthur comes back in with a gun, just like, rah!
Yeah, he needed to convince Changretta, the bad guy, that like, oh, okay, the blood debt's been paid. You killed 2 of my brothers, and I killed some of yours. Like, oh, we're even now. Yeah, I thought that was well done. I liked that. It wrapped up the one complaint I had. I was like, if you told me this at the beginning, you got to have a reasoning. Like, you got to explain that then.
And they did.
Yeah, and they did. And I was like, I clapped in my chair. I'm like, all right. Kudos to you, writers. Yes, I'm happy. I'm content.
Yeah.
Because some other TV shows or some, just like brain dead movies.
There's 12 of them, and then like at the last episode, there's 87.
And they just don't give a crap. Like the writers are just, whatever. Our viewers are dumb. Like they don't care. Like you pretend like your audience is smart, which is something we're fans of. Something we've hammered in.
Especially because if you write like your audience is smart, people who are not that smart also can enjoy the show.
Yeah, it's still enjoyable.
You write it for a broader audience when you write it for a smart audience.
Just make everybody happy.
Yeah.
Like, not saying you got to be all sciencey technical terms, like for nerds only, but like just, I don't know, make the writing good, make it make sense. Exactly. I think everybody wants that.
Exactly.
Everybody can enjoy that, certainly.
I agree. All right, enough of movies, Trevor.
It's time.
It's time to dive deep into the horizons of modernity.
To hell dive into modern horizons.
To hell dive and take a peek at the gentlemanly modern horizons.
Yeah, I got nothing.
All of this.
So, we mentioned last week's episode at least, Modern Horizons 3 got leaked. And I guess before we go into the cards, I can start with Wizards of the Coast's response to the leaks. There were 2 big leakers released a decent amount of cards. We kind of mentioned last week of like, their response, and I just wanted to pull it up because I didn't really like how snarky they were, so I wanted to pull up some of their words, some of their response of like, okay, I get it, like, yeah, people leaked your stuff, that kind of sucks, but they just like hammered into it in this article. They're like,
is this from Wizards?
Yeah, this is from Wizards. Which again, I think I'm okay with their response of like, all right, there's been a bunch of leaks. We'll just reveal some legitimate cards, with good quality.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems okay. It seems like positive PR, but they're like, okay, there's been a betrayal at our vault. We think the culprit is, went through a hidden door. They're trying to do some in-universe lingo. We've experienced leaks of this magnitude in the past, and each time we get similar feedback, there's a significant group of our fans who prefer to engage with previews without the fuzzy images. So we definitely prefer that. Okay. And then they're like,
does anyone actually care?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, the leaks of this magnitude are tough to ignore. So we made this article. Let's talk about where things go from here, and we'll also show off some cards in non-potato camera form.
Did they say non-potato camera?
Uh-huh.
So I don't mean to interrupt.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know about you, but the camera on my phone is a couple years, like 3 or 4 years old. 4 years old now, maybe 3 years old. The camera takes a lot better quality photo than what was posted online.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, no one's camera takes that crappy of a picture, right?
No, unless it's like a flip phone now or something. Nobody does that.
So what would they... That's interesting.
It's almost a meme at this point. I feel like it's like, it's not legitimate unless
it's fuzzy, like
unless it's fuzzy. Yeah, like, I had to take the picture quickly.
Like, no, you have the card. Put it on a table and take a picture. Pop down.
No, but Wizards of the Coast is gonna find me. Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting. I haven't.
Yeah. They said the official debut is May 21st, in unfathomably long 3 weeks from now in internet time. Okay. We look forward we were looking forward to giving you a break from Thunder Junction. But hey, we're the patient type. Again, just kind of like bashing the fans almost a little bit for wanting leaks. I don't know. And then they say, if you're the type who devours leaks and previews as soon as possible, the leaks aren't hard to find. We're not going to point you in that direction. But if you're into that kind of thing, you probably already know where they are. Like, all over the internet? Like, what? Again, yeah, they're like posting pictures and leaks in between all these little blurbs. Just like, hey, yeah, we don't like leaks, and here's real good cards, and we're patient, and then they spoiled some commander cards too, and then it's like, yeah, catch us on May 21st. You're welcome. It's just some of the tone.
Not a very good take, huh?
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that. Just like, if you like that sort of thing, if you like potato image quality leaks, and you like Magic content, you're dumb. Like, just wait 3 weeks. Jeez.
Yeah.
You know where to find those. We're not going to tell you. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You think people are following news and announcements on the Magic the Gathering homepage, or are they following like Reddit and internet, other news sources? Like
100% Reddit.
Yeah, I'm not checking the Wizards of the Coast news every day for my sources. Like,
no, you let someone aggregate all the information together, and then you read what you want to read.
Yeah, it's too much information these days. So
yeah, for real.
So with that being said,
that's not a great take from them.
Yeah, I just think they overdid it a bit.
Yeah, I do think last week my opinion was it is a breach of contract or trust or whatever. So like some snarkiness is permitted and probably expected and probably funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion, right? Like, yeah, if you want to, someone did leak your product and you want to have a good PR outcome from this. And so if you try to be funny about it and like a little bit snarky,
yeah,
like that's okay, but don't degrade your player base for it.
Yeah.
Which sounds like that's kind of what they were doing in this.
I think so.
You should degrade the people who did it and then like poke fun at like your lack of security stuff.
Yeah.
Like, like you know.
It's just, or like, hey guys, spoiler season started early. All right.
Yeah, and like, maybe adjust your spoiler schedule so it, it's 50% of the spoilers, but it's over 2 times the amount of time. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not a great. I mean, I can see what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I think their execution was poor.
I think they just went a bit too much.
Yeah, I concur.
Because like, I don't know. It's Wizards of the Coast. It's not like I expect positive news from them, but I still play their game for now.
Well, you print out the paper for it at least.
I print out the paper for the game. Let's talk about some cards.
Yeah. What you got for me?
We can. I think this is one of the first ones that leaked because the guy had some commander decks, which was pretty cool. He leaked an unholy atrocity, a new Eldrazi Titan, which is a fusion of 2 of the previous 3 Eldrazi Titans. There's Ulamog, Kozilek, and I don't remember the other guy.
And this is Ulamazalek.
No, this is Ulalek.
That was close.
Emrakul, that's the other one. Anyway, Ulalek fused atrocity. I think the quality on this one's readable. We can put this one up on screen. It's new hybrid colorless and a color mana, right? Because he's the commander for the 5-color precon.
Right.
So I think even on the precon art, it shows like the 5-color pips and a colorless. So it's like 6 colors, which is going to be a big theme in this set. That basically colorless is the 6th color. But so he's 5 mana, but it's like 5 colorless or 1 of each color, or you can do any mix of that. For a 2/5 with devoid, meaning for the purposes of the game he's colorless, but for commander he's all 5 colors. I don't love it, but that's the way the rules work. Sell cards for commander. Whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell, you may pay 2 colorless, and if you do, you copy all spells you control. Then copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control.
Oh, I forgot about this. Yeah.
And you can choose new targets for the copies.
It's so broken.
It's pretty broken.
And how much does that cost again? Sorry.
When you cast an Eldrazi spell, you can pay an extra 2 to copy everything you own on the stack, is basically what it says. So so it's whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell. So bare minimum, I'm casting like an 8 mana, a big 8/8, whatever scary Eldrazi Titan thing. You can just pay 2 mana and then just copy that guy on the stack.
And then it copies its activated abilities as well?
Yeah.
Triggered abilities, rather?
Yeah, so any triggered abilities.
So it would only be ETBs then, effectively.
Mm-hmm. Or activations of other things of like, whenever you cast a spell, draw a card or whatever.
Sure.
So we haven't seen the rest of the deck. We probably will in a few weeks, get the whole deck list, but it seems a little complicated for a precon. But it's a modern commander precon, so maybe it's not meant for new players. Probably be the reasoning they tout, like they did last year with the Commander Horizons, expensive precons that they're like, these are better than the average precon.
I mean, it's going to be interesting because you can just put a ton of ramp into these.
Ton of ramp, and then just some Eldrazi. Or Changelings, because Changelings are cheaper than Eldrazi.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Whenever you cast a 1 mana Changeling, you can pay 2 mana and copy everything on the stack. And you just, again, throw a bunch of triggered abilities or activated abilities that are on the stack. Activated abilities would be really easy because you can do that at instant speed. Like a triggered ability, you might have to like work around to try to get the trigger on the stack at the same time. But it's just like, I'm gonna, cast my 1 mana Changeling, and then also I want to activate this ability and draw 3 cards, and also I'll activate this ability
and then all of them will double.
Yeah, right. Like a Kranko, right, is just like tap and make a bunch of goblins. Like, okay, well that's on the stack. I'm just gonna copy it.
Yeah, anything that's just tap a creature.
Just tap and do it.
Yeah, tap and do it is fantastic.
If you can, again, either Changelings or Eldrazi, if you can get that to have flash, that's even better.
You do it on your opponent's turn, then everything untapped.
Do it on your stupid board. And it's easier to like load up the stack if you can do it at instant speed. Like you can do it multiple times. Like,
well, and you even only need like a Changeling with flash.
Yeah,
and then you could play a 3 mana, turn it into a 5 mana Changeling, right before your turn.
Yeah.
Do all of your activated abilities to do whatever. You don't even need to have like multiple creatures on the stack.
No, yeah.
You can just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play this, but then I'm gonna
Yeah, the stack is big enough. I'll just
tap just for like some extra value, you know.
Pay 2 mana, copy all of it. Like it's I think it's obviously it's a good card, but I think it could be neat in teaching people about the stack, right? So maybe that's initially I'm like, this is going to be really confusing for new players to put in a pre-con, but I don't know, I guess it forces people to learn. So
yeah, they got to at some point anyway, right?
Yeah, it's you got to know the stack interactions, and Ulalek seems like the guy to teach you.
Ulalek.
Yeah, Ulalek.
Has there been a ton of other Eldrazi support in previous sets?
Here and there, because they're a pretty famous villain.
Yeah.
So anytime they
haven't been as supported as like the Phyrexians.
No, not lately. At least the Phyrexians definitely have come up lately, and they probably have more now. I'd say maybe with Modern Horizons 3, they might be like even.
Gotcha.
But the big three Eldrazi Titans each have, I think, 2 printings. So like, if you want to run them as your commander, none of them are amazing, and they're all colorless.
Except this new one.
So this new one who's going to be 5 color, which will probably help out for a commander deck, because then you can add ramp to get to your giant 15 mana Emrakul, take an extra turn after this one.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, commander.
Yeah, because he's got protection from all colors, I think, or something like that. Protection from a lot of stuff, and then he's got Annihilator 6.
Oh,
so you take your extra turn, and then he loses Summoning Sickness, and then you can attack on your extra turn.
And is Annihilator when you attack or when combat?
When you attack, they sacrifice 6 permanents.
That's gross.
Yeah, Emrakul is pretty gross.
Isn't there one that has Annihilator 10?
I don't think so.
What's the 10/10 one?
Eldrazi Conscription is an enchantment to like turn anything into an Eldrazi, and you give it +10/+10 and Annihilator 2, I think.
No, there's a Titan.
Okay, one of the Titans.
Eldrazi. I think it's a
one of the Blightsteel Colossus.
Doesn't he have Annihilator?
No, he's got Infect.
Maybe
that's his big thing.
Thinking of that. Anyway.
Yeah. There probably will be some pretty good Eldrazi support from this set. Eldrazi fans rejoice. Because it's like Eldrazi, Slivers, and Phyrexians are kind of the big villains of Magic. So every couple of years when they show up in the story, you always get more support, more cards for them. On to the next spoilers. We know, speaking of Eldrazi support, they've got the Null Drifter, which I think is pretty funny, because there's the classic Magic card Mole Drifter is pretty famous. He's just like, he's a stupid little fish thing, but most people, he has the evoke cost, where instead of paying like 5 mana for like a 2/2 flyer body, you can pay 3 mana, and he dies. You have to sacrifice him after you play him. But when he enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards. So he's Mole Drifter is classic. But Null Drifter is the Eldrazi form of that. And he's slightly better. He's the same thing. When you cast it, you draw 2 cards. And he's got the evoke for 3. Or if you wanted to hard cast him, he's a 7 mana 4/4, flying an Annihilator 1. And he looks just like the Mole Drifter, except he's a creepy Eldrazi tentacle thing. It's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Drifter.
Yeah.
Like,
that'll be a good staple card.
Yeah, it's good, and a good because he's in Commander, he's blue, even though he's colorless. So he helps you draw cards, which is normally kind of hard in a colorless deck. There's not like drawing cards and ramping.
Yeah.
But you have all 5 colors, you're good to go. You want to talk about the
demon?
The demon.
Yeah, this guy is definitely my pick for. Honestly, it might be the next deck I build.
Top commander so far that we've seen.
Top commander for black white.
Colorblind.
So it's Shilgengar, Sire of Famine.
Shilgengar.
5 mana, 6/6 with flying.
Good stats.
Yep. Legendary creature, Elder Demon.
Elder.
He's 3 colorless and 2 black, but then he's flying, and then his abilities are he's got 2 paragraphs. Sacrifice another creature, create a blood token. If you sacrifice an angel this way, create a number of blood tokens equal to its toughness instead, which in my opinion is pretty cool.
It's pretty good. And
Especially
that's a free sack outlet just to make some blood tokens. All right, cool.
exactly. Then
Here's the kicker.
You can pay 3 in any combination of white and black to sacrifice 6 blood tokens, then return each creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Those creatures are vampires in addition to their other types.
Yeah.
So, like, this deck is, in my opinion, just like you build this guy as a demon, and then you build angels.
Yep.
And vampire synergy stuff.
Yeah. You sacrifice the angels.
Sacrifice all the angels, and then you pay 3 mana to get all of them back.
And now they're vampires.
And other vampires as well. And with the vampire synergy stuff, my thought is, this card gives all vampires +1/+1. This gives all vampires whatever.
It's a lifelink and doo-doo.
And then you just have this horde of vampires.
Yeah. They have the finality counters on, which is the downside, because if they would die or leave the battlefield, I think they get exiled instead. I had to double check that actually on the finality counter, because what if they get shuffled into your library or something with a finality counter? I don't remember. But the main use case is if they die again, they get exiled.
Yeah.
But in black, there's it's pretty uncommon to remove counters, but in black, there's a creature that does it. He's called the Hex Parasite. I think he's his activated ability is X and a black to remove X counters from anything, target permanent. And then the Hex Parasite gets pumped until end of turn or whatever. It's kind of lame, but just the removing counters is strong. So then you can just
remove finality counters from all of them.
Yeah, right. For 1 to 2 mana, if you got the mana, remove the finality counters, sacrifice them again, get more blood tokens, and then sacrifice the blood tokens and bring them back from the graveyard again. That's fun. Remind
me what a blood token does for you.
Yeah, so it's not great as far as the random artifact tokens go. It's pay 1, tap, sacrifice the blood token to discard a card and draw a card.
Right, you loot with it.
Yeah, so you don't you end up net 0 on your cards, but it is card selection, and it fills your graveyard, which might be relevant for this deck.
Because you can just discard
creatures.
And you could discard a massive creature. If you have a 10 mana 10/10.
It's a reanimator style.
Turn 4.
Yep. Blightsteel Colossus. Discard that guy.
And then he comes back. Yeah, he's got a finality counter on, but oh no. Because they all get their ETB triggers again, right?
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Yep, all the ETB triggers. You can do his ability at instant speed, so you can wait until the end of the previous player's turn. So they come back and then they have haste, pseudo haste. Or you can just surprise blockers, reanimate your whole graveyard. Seems pretty good.
That'd be brutal right after a board wipe or something. All creature board wipe.
You surprise, reanimate your whole graveyard, and then because of his first ability, you can gay block, where you can just sacrifice them before damage.
Oh, the gay blocking is real.
It's a sack outlet on a commander is always something to not look over. It's strong. If you can sacrifice your creatures whenever you want.
And then 1 mana loot on top of it.
It's fine.
Fine,
Yeah. If you wanted to, you could throw in some artifact synergies. But honestly, I think the deck's getting too full at this point.
Yeah. I'm also thinking throw in some sack outlet synergies as well,
Yeah. Just the just having a reanimate in there, just a 1 black mana, pull any creature out of your graveyard. You probably want some of that too, some redundancy in case your commanders died a couple times. The deck, I won't say builds itself, but there's a lot to put in there to squeeze down to 100 cards.
Yeah, well, which I think is I never know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, because in my opinion, there's 2 ways. There's 2 ways to build a deck. You go from the ground up and build until you hit 100, or you start at 3,000 and then come down to 100.
Narrow it down, yeah. Totally.
In my, Big Green Stompy, for example, I built up to 100.
Yeah.
Because it was just this is an X creature. Throw it in. I got all my ramp in there, and then I was like, all right, the rest is just X creatures. Which ones do I like?
Nice, yeah.
But this is like you have so many options.
So many options,
And
you got to decide. Yeah, what do I want to focus on? Which strategy?
I think one thing that could be a problem with this deck is mana. Having enough mana to do your stuff.
White black.
White black never has any sort of ramp.
Yeah, again, white's getting better. But yeah, you're mainly stuck to just the artifacts, just the usual mana ramp, mana rocks. I mean, so nothing too strong, too amazing there.
Yeah,
but at least he's only 5 mana. And again, you probably don't need to cast the big 10/10s. You can just get them in the graveyard.
Exactly.
So
I feel like there needs to be some discard synergy or like cyclings or some sort of discard synergy.
Because again, with the blood tokens, so you can play into that. Like chucking your hand in the graveyard is fine.
Yeah.
I've got my whole deck that like is about casting spells from the graveyard. So there's special tutors. Was like, yeah, go search your library for 3 cards and put them in the graveyard. Sure, all right. It just skips an extra step. I don't want them in my hand anyway. There's stuff, graveyard synergies like that.
This guy is definitely on the top of my list for my white black deck.
Cool. I'm trying to think. Since we mainly talk about Commander, there's a decent amount of like, oh, this card is relevant for Modern. What a cool leak. But we'll stick to mainly Commander. The king, the bear king.
Oh yeah.
So we've had previously in the Magic lore. There's Ayula, Queen Among Bears or whatever. Okay. I think she's mono green, but she's a popular like bear commander. I think she gives them all +1/+1 or something dumb like that. But now we have a green white bear commander. This is Kudo, King Among Bears.
Yeah.
So he's a green and a white, 2 mana, 2/2. That's like a meme that every bear is a 2 mana 2/2.
I was looking at that the other day. I was looking at bears on the Gatherer app, and I was like, all of these are 2/2s.
That's the joke. The original card, I don't think it was actually Magic Alpha, like the first set, but Grizzly Bears was a 2 mana 2/2.
Yeah.
And so then from then, I don't know why, but that term in Magic has been referred to as bears. Anything that's a 2 mana 2/2, you're like, oh, that's a bear. Magic nerds. And then that also even evolved into a subsection of hate bears, because Magic produced, they made a lot of cards that were like 2 mana 2/2s with some like negative effect for your opponents. Again, I don't know why, but that they were all 2 mana 2/2s. So then the community was like, oh, that's a hate bear. It's dumb, but this guy is actually a hate bear. The king of the bears is a hate bear. Just 2 mana 2/2, green and white. Other creatures have base power and toughness 2/2 and are bears in addition to their other types. So it's bear tribal, but then it's hate bear because you're turning all your opponent's creatures into 2/2s that are also bears.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny.
It's funny.
I was trying to figure out like
if they have big 10/10s. Turn them down to 2/2s. Yeah. It's cool.
Unless it's big green stumpy counters.
Well, yeah, if something's a 0/0 and you make it a 2/2, that's just 2 more power.
Yeah, like I would love to play this deck with my big green stompy deck, right? Because I just get 2 extra power for free on some of my creatures.
You just buffed all my creatures.
A couple of them lose like 1 or 2 power here or there, but I was thinking of like, okay, how would I build this deck? Like because it's kind of weird being in green because green has a lot of big creatures.
Big stuff, yeah.
And you can't really build those in this deck because it just gets turned into a 2/2.
They all get turned into 2/2.
So you have like an 8 mana 2/2. It's like, okay, that's not worth, right? But I think the saving grace is that it's in white. And white has a lot of go wide.
Green-white, that combination is, commonly helps with go wide.
Yeah, and so my thought was instead of a big green stompy deck, do a massive squirrel army effectively, or like an elf army.
Squirrel bears.
Like this guy would be great as like an elf commander. Because most of the elves are 1/1s.
They're just 1/1s, right?
With some stupid dinky ability.
Yeah, and usually like lord effects where it's like, oh, all elves you control get +1/+1. But that is just in combination. That works well. You're still doing 1/1 counter. synergies works great.
Yep. And then the white stuff, you got all the spirits that are,
Oh yeah,
not massive,
you
right?
use spirits, bunch of 1/1s. It's a fun commander, but you're right. It is kind of hard to build. I've tried building a hate bear commander before, but you really you need a specific idea or theme that you want to go with, because it's not enough to just I play my commander and everyone's like, okay, that's annoying, but what does it do?
Yeah.
I've scrapped that deck because it's just oh, this deck is just going to be a bunch of hate bears.
No, you know what the best way? You know what? I bet the best way to do it would be to make a bunch of Thopters.
Yeah, a bunch of flying bears.
And Thopters are 0/1s.
1/1 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're really, really low power. I think there are some 0/1s.
There are some 0/1s or 0/2s. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 0/2. But you just get a bunch of Thopter token creation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there is much in green, but there is some in white.
There's some in white, yeah, for sure. Green is not supposed to be the artifact color, but these days every color is an artifact color. Yeah. So,
but that would be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Just create a bunch of flying bear Thopter.
Yeah. I think he's cool because there's a number of different ways you could take him, and so long as you have that idea in mind. Because this guy doesn't build himself, this commander. You need a win con in mind when you build the deck.
He's a good piece of the puzzle, but not the keystone of the puzzle. You should be able to win without him on the board even.
Sure.
Probably.
There's one annoying strategy I saw of when this card was... this one was an official spoiler from Wizards of the Coast, not leaked. But when he was spoiled, people were like, oh, all right, mass land destruction back on the menu. You can do Elish Norn, speaking of Phyrexians earlier, the original Elish Norn. Her ability was brutal. All the original big Phyrexians add a positive effect for your board and a negative effect for the opponent's board. And hers is all of your creatures get +2/+2, and all your opponent's creatures get -2/-2.
Oh, so it just kills all your enemies.
Yeah, it turns just kills all their creatures immediately, and then you just pair it with a third card to animate all lands. Turn all their lands into 2/2 creatures, and then -2/-2. 3-card combo, mass land destruction, and all your friends hate you. Yeah, and there's a couple different cards because you're in green and colorless to animate lands, so there's even redundancy for that combo. Yikes. You're like, ooh.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's green-white mass land destruction. What fun.
Well, and something that this guy is, there's a bunch of cards in green, not a bunch, but a few cards in green that you have to choose a creature type, and then those creatures get whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tribal
Some
card.
tribal support,
right? Yeah. And so you could build whatever cards you want in the deck because they're all bears.
They're all bears.
Yeah, that's kind of cool as well.
You could...
that math land destruction would be brutal.
Yeah.
Well, and then you animate them, they all get haste, I presume, or they already have it.
They were already out. Yeah.
And so you just win the game at that point if you have.
Oh yeah, because all your lands are 4/4s now.
Yeah. So if you have 10 mana, that's enough for one person.
Yeah. Presumably you had to spend some of it to do that effect that turn, but yeah, still.
Oh yeah, fair.
Still,
but in green you're gonna have way more.
You're gonna have 10 lands at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like Kudo King Among Bears. He's gonna be fun. Gonna be cool.
Yeah. I got one that I wanted to.
Yeah, go for it.
I think did you send this one to me? The Kappa Cannoneer.
Yeah. Who is he's not new, but he's new to modern, and it's his first reprint. So I think a lot of modern players are maybe going to be aware of him now. Commander players are going to see him again. He's good. He's fantastic.
Yeah,
he should get more popularity.
So he's a 6-mana 4/4.
He's not. Don't lie to me.
With improvise.
Yeah.
The improvise, you can have artifacts help cast this spell for each artifact you tap. After you're done activating mana abilities, it pays for 1 mana. So you can tap your treasure tokens
to use as 1 colorless mana and keep your treasure.
Yeah, so he's 5 and a 1 blue, and he's got Ward 4.
Ward 4, so which is basically hexproof.
Yeah.
And
then whenever he or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn.
All right. So if I understand that all correctly, whenever he enters the battlefield or another artifact, put a 1/1 counter. Okay.
So it's a 1 mana 5/5.
It's a 1 mana 5/5 with hexproof. That's unblockable.
Oh yeah.
Well, next turn, by the time you swing with them, it's actually a 6 mana. A 6/6 unblockable.
Well,
Presumably, you're going to get another artifact out. At least one more.
Hopefully.
Maybe by the time you're swinging with him, he's a 10/10 unblockable.
But I'm thinking like, okay, put this in a blue-white deck, Smothering Tithe.
Yeah, insane.
And then all of a sudden he's
insane.
Oh yeah, he comes out as a 5/5 hexproof.
Yeah.
But then, by my next turn, he's an 8/8 at least.
8/8 at least. Yeah, I do something else on my turn, and again, he's 9/10. Easy. And the art, he looks like Blastoise. Super
He does,
cool.
yeah.
The Kappa Cannoneer.
He looks like a Blastoise and a Master Oogway from
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda mixed together.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. He's got the old turtle.
Oh, yes. With a giant cannon.
Yeah. I thought he was kind of fun.
Kappa Cannoneer. Watch out for the sneaky blue artifact decks.
Davis played one on Thursday.
Oh, he told me about it.
It was
I
nasty.
didn't see that yet.
Turn 5 just had turn 5 he had like 2 16/16s.
Jeez. Because all of his artifacts were tapping for mana, basically like improvise and stuff like that.
It was a nasty deck.
That is.
It was a nasty deck.
It
was Urza.
Urza, yeah.
Blue Urza.
He's the most popular blue commander.
For good reason.
Good reason, because he's powerful and you can build him any number of ways. So.
Well, the way Davis built him, it was disgusting.
It was pretty disgusting. Well, this card won't help you with Urza, but on average, this next card will help most of your commander troubles.
And what is it?
Null Elemental Blast.
Null Elemental Blast.
It costs 1 colorless, so it has to be like from a Soul Ring or an artifact or whatever. Instant speed. You choose one. You counter target multicolored spell or destroy target multicolored permanent. The vast majority of commanders in Magic the Gathering are multicolored. So, and it's in Commander, you have a lot of mana rocks. It's pretty easy to get a colorless mana, specifically. So 1 mana, destroy anyone's commander.
Question.
Yes.
Is it color identity or...
It's, or color.
Yeah, I didn't know how to say that.
It is color, because this is in-game rules.
Gotcha.
Has to be. So, Shilgengar is black. So this actually would not work on him.
Gotcha.
Because he is black, even though
and any creature with Devoid also doesn't work on.
Is colorless.
They're colorless.
Yeah, that's why this is like an Eldrazi spell. Is the art.
Sure.
The Eldrazi's hate colors because they're all colorless. So yeah, it doesn't work on Eldrazi.
They're not the only ones who hate colors. Sorry.
No, that was good. That was appropriate.
It's not me.
Nope. Continuing on.
Rapidly, please.
Yeah, so multicolored spells. Most commanders, or again, there's any number of things you can hit. It's good permanence. You can save it for a counter or destroy. It's versatile. The
1 mana is fantastic.
Yeah, the ones it harkens off of is, I think these are back in alpha, the blue elemental blast and the red elemental blast are the same thing. They're like hating on color. So it's like 1 red mana to destroy or counter a blue spell, and then 1 blue mana to destroy or counter a red spell. So this one is like the Eldrazi, like null, any colored spell. Oh, God. So that's a cool one. Because I even, again, in Commander, the red and the blue elemental blast maybe aren't amazing. They see more play in competitive formats, but I still like them, because odds are like there's going to be 1 red thing that you might not like in a 4-player game, or 1 blue thing, and for 1 mana to just blow a thing up,
yeah,
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I got one. The last one that I have a screenshot of here is the 6 mana black Fareweller, more than farewell.
The final farewell.
Final act. 6 mana, 4 and 2 black. It says sorcery. It says choose 1 or more. There's 5 bullet points there. It says, I thought this one of them was pretty funny. It says destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers, destroy all battles, which I thought was funny. Exile all graveyards, and then each opponent loses all counters.
Very interesting.
which is like an anti-toxic deck?
Yeah.
Or poison, rather?
Yeah, but again, as I texted you, it's only each opponent loses all counters.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, because you can't lose.
Again, it has to be like energy and experience counters are positive. So that's the ones you would want to remove from your opponents.
Or rad counters, maybe.
No, I mean, rad counters are negative. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
you want, if you're giving away rad counters, you want your opponents to have them.
Yeah, you're right.
So rad and poison are both negative. So you don't want to remove those.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's each opponent. It's not each player loses all counters. Because then it would be like healing your negative counters, which is not a black effect.
Yeah. So just to clarify, each opponent loses all counters.
Yeah.
That's only the opponent, not the opponent's creature.
Not their permanents, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, presumably that doesn't matter, though, since you're destroying all creatures anyway.
Yeah.
And battles. Don't forget the battles.
And the battles, which, like, man, dude, the battle stocks, like, they're tanking. Dude, this card, it's destroying all battles.
Yeah, I mean...
We've never seen a card that strong before. The battles were just, like, taking over Commander.
Let me ask you this, though. On the stack...
Yes.
Okay.
Probably, yes. But yeah, ask your question.
Creatures... So, on the stack, when you choose one of these, it goes down, right? The stack starts with destroying all creatures.
Destroy all creatures.
Then all planeswalkers.
Yep.
Then all battles.
Then if you choose exile all graveyards.
Yes.
All that stuff goes away.
So... Yeah. They trigger separately. Well, they trigger at the same time, but in order.
Yes. Yeah. That's good. It's like, because trigger implies you can respond to it, and you can't respond in the middle.
To halfway,
A card has to resolve.
Trigger at the same time, but they resolve independently.
Yes.
Let's say.
That's a good way of putting that.
So, some battles turn into creatures.
Oh, yeah. That's true when they get destroyed.
And so you destroy all creatures, and then you, planeswalkers, whatever, destroy all battles.
Yeah.
And then that creature comes back. So
correct.
It comes back to
an empty board, presumably.
An empty board, which is, if it's your battle, fantastic for you.
Yeah.
If it's not your battle, not fantastic for you.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because the only battles we've seen so far are positive. They're the ones that you play and then an opponent defends. And so you're trying to destroy it to get your creature back or your enchantment back or whatever on the flip side. So yeah, until we come up with the other subtypes of battles, you're going to be wanting to play battles and destroying them. Yeah, with the board wipe. So
I don't think any of the black battles are any good.
No,
I think the best battles are like the green and I think there's a red one.
The green and there's a red one. One of the multicolored ones was decent, I think, but not really for Commander. I think for Commander it was like the green and the red one.
So it's an interesting aspect to like think about. Like, oh, I could like play around this and add a battle or two into my deck. But like, is it worth the card space? Yeah, you know,
it's interesting to note. This is got the Commander Precon symbol, so I think it's the Jund Precon. So it's going to be red, green, black.
So that actually is,
and they might print new battles. It's been long enough since the first time they made them, where they've gotten the community like response they wanted. So I haven't had that confirmed because we're not an official spoiler season.
Sure.
But there might be new battles in the deck as well, but then you can throw in the old good red and green ones into this precon.
And I think one of the green ones does give you like a 6/6 or something like that.
Yeah, right? It's like a 6/6 mana dork as well, which is kind of cool.
Oh, I didn't remember that part.
The front side of the battle like ramps you, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, and then you get a big like vigilance haste, also taps for mana.
Yeah, like that's pretty decent.
I like some of the red ones. I think both the red ones are actually pretty good. The one red one is the front side's like a board wipe, deals 3 damage to each creature, and then the back side's like a dragon or something. And then the other one I like, I don't remember what the front side does, but the back side lets you discard a land card to shock something to deal 2 damage to anything.
That's cool. Just
for free. I think that's a pretty good activation depending on your deck. You got a bunch of extra lands. So red, green, black. You already got some good battles. They might add some extra battles. Rest of the card's fantastic. Like,
yeah, other than the battle, like taking the battle aspect away, destroy all creatures and planeswalkers, and then exile all graveyards.
Exile all graveyards.
Pretty okay.
The battles and each opponent losing counters, those are icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Which, like, for a 6 mana board wipe in 2024, That's what I want to see. Like, gone are the days of like 6 mana, destroy all creatures. Like, all right, that's lame. No, you can't afford to play that anymore.
Yeah.
Because there's just other stuff that needs destroyed.
Yeah.
You got to play 4 mana, destroy all creatures is fine. 5 or 6 mana, you got to be doing something else for me.
Well, and what's nice about this is that it's a sorcery, which kind of,
Yeah,
they had to balance it somehow.
definitely.
But gets around hexproof, gets around ward,
Mhm.
gets around. I mean, the only thing it doesn't is indestructible,
Mhm.
but that's rare for most creatures.
That's fine. You're exiling the graveyard, so you're shutting off their graveyard shenanigans, which can be a downside to destroy board wipes.
Yeah, I think it's exile all graveyards, which is
Yes, and you're in black, so that's, again, you might not want to pick that one sometimes.
Yeah, depends on how you build the deck. Though.
Depending on how you build.
If you're
the
in a
deck.
Jund deck, it probably doesn't matter as much.
Yeah,
except for my Jund deck with persist.
Yeah, some Jund decks do use the graveyard, some not so much. So it depends. Maybe you just stay your graveyard right then. You're like, it's better to get rid of their graveyards than keep what little bit I have going on right now.
Especially if you have someone popping off, you can.
Yeah. If somebody has one of those few experience counter decks, like, you're gonna be wishing you had this card, because there's no
energy counters.
There's no way to remove experience or energy counters. Energy counters, at least the player is usually using them and removing them.
Yeah.
Or using and gaining. Experience counters, they just go up and up and up and up, and then it's impossible to stop them. So I'm kind of glad they haven't done that mechanic anymore, unless we get more tech, unless we get more counter tech like this to counter the experience counters. Yeah.
All right, you got one more?
Yeah, I can finish it off. Somebody leaked the Eldrazi deck. So, I mean, there's just a bunch of cool Eldrazi. You know where to find them if you go looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
if you're impatient.
So those are fine. None of those are like super impactful to Commander as a whole. There's some decent reprints, some cool new Eldrazi if you're making an Eldrazi deck. But if I had to find one cool new Commander, where's he at? It's this dog.
Oh, they have a new dog.
Yeah, it's a corgi. Which
hilarious.
The alternate art is pretty good. His name is Felia. I think that's a girl.
Oh, I did see this one. Yeah,
exuberant shepherd. So it's like a sheepdog, a border collie or something. 2 mana, 2/2. It's a bear. 2 mana, 2/2 legendary
dog.
Legendary creature dog with flash. And when it attacks, which is kind of weird because flash is normally like an enter the battlefield trigger. Is normally what that means, but attack. When the 2/2 dog attacks, you exile up to one other target non-land permanent. Beginning of the next end step, presumably your end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it entered under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on the dog. It's simple, but it's a cute dog, and it helps with the blink strategies of like, I want permanents leaving and entering a bunch. Or you can just remove an opponent's annoying thing for combat. I don't think it's going to make waves in Commander, but it's a cute dog and it fits into existing strategies we have. So
fair enough.
Yeah,
and it's a modern deck.
Yeah, it's modern legal. It's going to make waves in modern.
Jeez.
I guess I could throw in one more that's maybe relevant for Commander. The White of the Reliquary is black and green. Black and a green, a 2 mana.
White?
White, like a zombie.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So he's a 2 mana, 2/2 with vigilance. He gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. The cool thing is his activated ability is tap, sacrifice another creature to search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped.
So tap him, sack a creature, put a land on the battlefield.
Any land from your library.
He's a black and white?
He's black and green.
Black and green.
So he's perfect. You're sacrificing creatures and you're ramping. It's black-green combination.
That's exactly what black and green want.
It's perfect. You search for any land card, which is pretty rude anytime they do that, because you're like, all right, now I can go find the specific land I want. That's really good. You're sacrificing creatures, you're filling the graveyard, you're buffing this guy, but you're not too concerned about that. You're just getting like consistent ramp every turn. He stays alive.
It's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Many a black and green deck are going to want that.
Many a black and green deck rejoice.
And I could finish it off with a cool Eldrazi dragon.
Oh,
if you want.
We got to do that.
It's the first Eldrazi dragon, so any fans of both of those, you can make a...
It's like the White Walker dragon.
Yeah, right. You can make a mono red Eldrazi dragon deck because he is colorless, but he's got an emerged cost with red pips, so he's red.
What does Emerge do?
Emerge, so like he costs 9 mana, and his Emerge is 6 and 2 red, and it's you can pay the Emerge cost by sacrificing a creature in addition to the mana cost, and you subtract that creature's mana value from the Emerge cost. So he's like 8 mana, but if you sacrifice a dude that costs 5, then it's 3 mana.
Gotcha.
And so he's a 9 mana or an 8 minus X 6/6 are his stats with flying. When you cast the spell, you can exile your hand. If you do, you draw 3 cards. Like, exile your whole hand, which is weird. I guess they didn't want discard shenanigans, like because red sometimes likes using the graveyard too, like that. But then each creature spell you cast has Emerge. The Emerge cost is equal to its mana cost. So if you just wanted to, you can make your creatures cheaper by sacrificing things. I don't think it's very powerful, but it's interesting.
It's interesting.
I don't like that he exiles your hand because the fact that you're sacrificing creatures tends to lead to like a red graveyard deck. He's kind of off theme of maybe like red Reanimator.
Yeah.
But the art looks cool. I
suppose if you only have 2 cards in hand, it would be net positive.
Yeah. But then you want to be filling your graveyard and casting more creatures for cheaper because you're sacrificing other creatures. He looks cool. I don't think it would be super strong, but Eldrazi Dragon, gotta mention. His name is Heragast, Erupting Nullkite.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, that's the borderless art I pulled. Yeah,
that's dope.
That'll look pretty cool. They're gonna sell packs. They'll make money on the set because
sure. It's a sick card.
Some of the stuff looks pretty cool.
Alrighty, well, shall we terminar?
I can terminar.
Finish.
You guys have been yapping for too long. You gotta end it.
Too many minutes.
It's been a good episode.
Anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Happy 1-year anniversary.
Here we are, still talking about Magic and news, and yeah,
there it is. Much better, much more comfortable than the first episodes.
Much better arrangement. Yeah, look at how far we've come.
It sounds better too.
Yeah, much better. Yeah. Don't listen to the episode 1. You don't need to.
Or 2 or 3 or 4 maybe or 5.
7.
I think it was around 8 or 9 when we actually started figuring it out.
Yeah. You got to start somewhere.
Anyway, there it is.
Thanks for watching. And then you cut in. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.